About a month and a half ago, we covered the controversy that Hasan got into when he was talking about the West Bank, saying that anyone actively occupying it, including your favorite podcaster's wife, would be a valid military target. Obviously referencing Hila Klein.
Every type of armed resistance against both the settlers and also the Israeli occupying force in the West Bank. Doesn't matter if it's your favorite podcaster's wife that participated in these raids. The violence that the Palestinians engage in an act of resistance against this illegal occupying force is literally legal.
We went over the initial backlash to this, but there was a lot more that we didn't get into, including some of Ethan's response, Philly D's coverage of the situation and the various criticisms he received, and Hasan saying that by Ethan's standards, he could sue Ethan Klein. There's a whole bunch to get into in this video, so let's just jump right into it. Welcome to the internet versus Hasan and Hila Klein, Part 2. And it continues where we left off just about a month and a half ago, where Yeet tweets out this clip with the caption, "Ethan reacts to the Hasan-Hila comments, reveals he and Hila filed paperwork for concealed carry."
This is his playbook. Never apologize. Always double down. Always accuse your accusers of being hallucinating, crazy, etc. This is exactly his playbook. Since Hasan and many of his friends have employed this violent rhetoric against me and my family, me and Hila rarely leave our houses or make public appearances because of the constant and overwhelming sense of danger. The last 2 years, we've spent more time inside than ever before. And we stopped doing our biannual live shows, right, for over a year because of the fear of violence being enacted not just on us, but on our fans and our crew. This, by the way, is resulting in the crew directly losing money, as these live shows, we would donate the entire box office to the crew. And we did this twice a year. It was a significant source of revenue for them that's now been shut off out of fear. We've been forced to hire a full-time guard at the office because everyone in the office was feeling unsafe. And me and Hila are both waiting for our concealed carry license so that we can finally feel safe in public again, which is not easy to get in California, and it's going to take like over a year probably. And I usually choose not to talk about this stuff because the provocateurs who will revel in it, because this is their goal, right? They want me to be afraid. They want me to be in my house. They want me to avoid doing public events. They want me to cower. So this is very much giving them what they want. However, in this moment, I do feel the entire context of how language like this affects me and my family and my crew and everybody around me. Twitch has served as the most prolific source of leftist radicalization, terrorist propaganda, and anti-West sentiment. They foster, they elevate, they protect.
Tectone replies, "Strap up, brother," attaching this picture of himself with a gun. Donut Operator says, "Texas is constitutional carry." Ethan Ralph replies to Ethan by saying, "Me and Hila rarely leave house." Cry more, pussy. And Alal says, "We all know you rarely leave your chair, Gunslord." Reloy replies, "They're radicalizing people with anti-Western sentiment. This is the same guy who said he would crucify Jesus Christ a second time. Ethan hates the West. He just hates anti-Semitism even more." Atuka says, "Honestly, I would go farther and agree that Ethan should move to another state." Save and Protect All Cats also posts this clip on the Leftovers H3 subreddit with the title, "Ethan Klein blames Hasan and his friends for never being able to go outside, loss of revenue for the crew, him and Hila getting a concealed carry weapon license." And El Pew Dragon replies, "Loss of revenue. Please, someone post all the clips of him shitting on his leftist viewers and telling them to leave and stop watching because he doesn't want them or need them in his fan base. He didn't do the annual live show because he was afraid and not enough people would show up. He knows they lost a good chunk of their fan base because all of the disgusting things he and Hila said. There are clips of him and his crew telling people he barely goes outside, long before this breakup with Hasan happened. He doesn't go outside because he is a lazy fuck and a coward too." Ethan has been defaming Hasan on almost every single episode of their Hasbara and Harassment podcast. He called him a terrorist, a sex pest, implied he's a pedo, and tied him with Hamas regularly on his IG stories. All of that is defamatory and putting Hasan's life in danger. Not to mention him and his subreddit stalking and lying about Hasan's parents too, and putting them in danger as well. Hasan is the one who should be afraid for his safety and to go outside in case some of deranged Ethan or Destiny fans try to actually harm him or those around him. Hasan is the one who actively receives death threats from people Ethan is aligned with. Find me one content creator telling his audience it's justifiable to kill Ethan like Destiny did yesterday to Hasan. He said in his defamatory content nuke he wants to ruin Hasan's career and reputation, but ended up ruining his own career and reputation. He has no one to blame but himself. Over on Twitter, Yeet posted this Instagram story from Ethan, where Ethan Klein is quoting an H3H3 Productions post, and the post says, Twitch found no violation on the Hasan clip about Hila, where Hasan hinted at Hila being a valid military target, and Ethan captioned it by saying, right sponsors, it's the only route Twitch has left open. And Odd Sauce replies, so when Hasan and his orbiters do it, that's fine, no harm done. But when someone else does it, permaban. And the Honorable Woke Mind Virus Patient 0KC says, do what? Then Odd Sauce says, you already know, dude. Hasan can make any threats by doxing someone or harass anyone, and Twitch will give him a slap on the wrist. Don't act retarded. And the Honorable Woke Mind Virus Patient 0KC says, what threat are you talking about? Who did he threaten and with what harm? And Odd Sauce replies, sorry, can't hear you over Hasan's dick in your mouth. Over on H3 Productions, Erica Rizzo posts that there was also nothing found on Twitch for the Hasan clip about Hila, and Blinks Magnus replies, this is somewhat well known, but there is a list of Twitch streamers who literally cannot be banned without human review by Twitch Trust and Safety. This is to prevent automated bans of large streamers who are mass reported. Obviously, Hasan is on the list, and Twitch Trust and Safety are completely in agreement with what he said. An Unusual Boot replies, just a friendly reminder for everyone that Trust and Safety was outsourced to Egypt, where 98% of the population is anti-Semitic according to internal polling. IMO, they don't just agree with Hasan, they're likely on the bad empanada train of thinking, it's not enough, genocide all the Jews. Figgy Puddin says, it's because he didn't name her directly, they get to play dumb. This is why you don't believe him when he says things like, sometimes I'm careless with my words. He's calculated and chooses his words very thoughtfully. And W replies, yeah. And then he went on to verify that he was, in fact, talking about Hila off stream. So they can't even play stupid at this point. And Figgy says, did he really? I haven't seen that update. Jesus fucking Christ. Eat tweets out this clip with the caption, Asmongold informs Hasan that people don't defend him publicly because he does indefensible things, points to how he labels Hila Klein.
You gotta stop bringing up the weird fucking shit where you talk about Hila Klein and being a valid military target. You think that people, if you think that you didn't mean it that way, then why is everybody in the comments of her Instagram saying that she's a valid military target? Why is that? It's because you never had to say her name. You never had to do that. Nobody asked you to do that. Nobody needed you to do that. Nobody wanted you to do that. I don't even think you, I don't even know what you're doing. Like, what is this? So the problem is that a lot of people don't defend you because you do things that are indefensible. You do things like bringing her up whenever you're talking about valid military target. You do shit like talking about how terrorist organizations that kidnap people that are like complete third parties, like fucking Filipinos for a year almost. You act like what they're doing is good. Like, that's the problem, right? You want to get people to defend you, you have to do things that are defensible. You can't support this crazy shit. And then, like, I remember, like, for example, when that one dude went and shot those 2 Israelis at the embassy, you go put your chat on sub mode, everybody's spamming hearts when you're reading the manifesto. Man, that doesn't look good. And I don't, the thing is that there's a lot of people don't, like, everybody gets mad at me, but, like, I know why. It's because I said some crazy, I said, we gotta stop people from voting or something like that. Like, I know that people don't want to cash those checks. And the reason why, I write some crazy fucking checks. I say some wild ass shit. But the thing is that it's not my fault. Like, it's not their fault. It's my fault. Like, I say it because it's my actions. And so, you had to purge this entire Discord after the couple was assassinated. Yeah, it's bad. And so, like, if you want to have people defend you, if you want to have people be on your side, if you want to go to the streamer games, you want to be part of the, you know, sponsor events, etc., you've got to dial shit down, man. And I mean, to a certain extent, I'm sure if he sees this, he'll say, oh, you should too. You're right. There are some things I say that probably I'm a little bit too extreme about. Just fucking chill out, man.
He also tweets out that Philly D covered the whole situation with the caption, Philip DeFranco's latest video features Hasan, Destiny, and Ethan Klein. He spends about 5 minutes going over the Hila Klein situation. And Kaguya's Top Gal replies, did he get AIDS? Sean says, I'll admit, I was once a daily Philly D watcher. Then he went into full activist mode. That was enough to dip. I'm no longer a beautiful bastard. Yeet also tweets out this clip with the caption, Destiny reacts to his feature in the Philly D video.
He makes a big deal about being impartial. You should contact him to give your side. He might say that, but Hasan 100% has his ear. He like is Philly's one of the few people who will also like obsessively lean into it, everything.
Someone were to attack Hila Klein right now, of course they should go to jail. What kind of idiocy is this?
So there you even had some who said, hey, I don't think that you were calling for violence against Hila, saying that it's at the very least very weird that you would bring up your former podcast partner's wife in the context of what's happening in the here and now. Also, something you saw is that when people asked him, why are you addressing this? You know, asking him, why are you feeding into people dragging you into drama? He said,
it has led to people issuing active death threats to their communities against me. So I think it's a little bit different than just like immature online gossip slop. At what point does it turn into like a real crime? I think this is the point where it has turned into a real crime. But will you consider it to be something beyond online gossip slop when I either get deplatformed or when I get killed?
Like, I've already been deplatformed and swatted. Does that make it real drama slop? Ethan Klein's already had CPS called on him and like fucking skulls mailed to his house, but I guess it's not real until something bad happens to Hasan at all, I guess.
And Master Egon replies, Hasan is trying to take the attention away from his death threats towards Hila by shining the light on Destiny's comment, which was only predicated on Hasan's death threats towards your favorite content creator's wife. Tabby Army says, only a piece of human shit like a terrorist supporter Hamas Piker could make me support Destiny. The internet is such a weird place. Hasan also reacted to it and tweets it with the caption, Hasan doesn't think Philly D goes far enough when labeling Hila Klein.
her podcaster's wife has gotten a lot of attention because Hila previously served in the IDF. And this also has a...
Well, no. She didn't just previously serve in the IDF. She participated in an illegal raid in the West Bank as a part of her service in the Israeli occupying force. And not only is what I'm saying not a not like a gray area or anything, it's just international law, right? Ethan Klein himself has on numerous occasions agreed with that sentiment. He has actually presented it in his context nuke, talking about his bona fides for how much he is an advocate, a stalwart ally of the Palestinians, as he has said. Ethan Klein has said West Bank settlers are valid military targets. Ethan Klein has admitted that his wife is a terrorist on stream. Were you saying if your favorite podcast wife was in Israel performing illegal war crimes that they would be illegal target? That's how I understood it. No, I'm saying in the process of anyone at all, it could be your mom, your dad, your fucking favorite podcaster, anyone that engages. Okay, because the conversation that I was having was more so about the way that people look at those who adorn the garb, like state violence versus non-state actors, right? Versus any kind of resistance against state violence. And what I was trying to do there was to say it doesn't matter who it is that puts on the Israeli occupying force gear and participates in an illegal raid in the West Bank. They are, if they receive violence in retaliation from the occupied force, that is legal. That is a legal act of resistance.
And Gosu Prime replies, maybe Hamas Piker would like Hila more if she took a Filipino sailors hostage for a year, like his terrorist Yemeni friend. What a piece of shit. Matteo says, his obsession with international law is so stupid. No one follows it. There's no enforcement mechanism. The US isn't even signed onto the ICC, and no American can be subject to any ICC trial. Hutch quote tweets the clip by saying, bro, just stop specifically referencing Hila in a conversation about whether killing certain people is justified. Like, holy fuck. Kind of a big just be normal phase of the discourse that we've landed on once again. And Anti-Spiral replies, ignoring the context of Hasan's comments while simultaneously ignoring the chat logs of Destiny literally saying Hasan should be murdered for these comments is very telling, Hutch. You should be above this. And Hutch replies, for the love of God, be normal. Hasan can make the case that violent resistance in the West Bank is justified without specifically referencing Hila. It's totally unnecessary in the analysis, and it's really irresponsible given how escalated the Ethan/Hila rhetoric has become. He's just being an edgelord. Constantly deflecting to Destiny when people criticize Hasan is a textbook of lazy whataboutism. I don't need to comment on every single specific instance of violent threats as some kind of caveat before commenting on Hasan. I have nothing to do with Destiny, and I do not answer for what he posts on the internet. And Audi replies, you have nothing to do with Hasan either, but it's still weird to ignore Destiny's comment, a comment that is arguably worse, because you decided to take this subject on, and Destiny's comment is part of this discussion. Hutch also tweets out some screenshots quoting an account that no longer exists, where he says, the replies to Hila's most recent harmless Insta selfie are the direct consequences of casually musing that any kind of violence done to her 20 years ago would have been justified. You do not actually have to publicly opine about whether or not she should have been killed. It attaches screenshots on Instagram. DickFlop69 saying, the new Nazis wear tassels? Not very cute. Grey Highlands Vintage says, Goering girl boss. Or no one says, all dressed up to oppress another group of indigenous people, huh? Another screenshot with the same 3 comments below, and at the top, Real Pet Chicken says, you all saw a Palestinian baby in the last photo or what? Another comment from The Secret to Life saying, valid target spotted. Blunt6011 says, you usually don't see donkeys dressed so tacky. And then more comments. Major Jazz Pants says, kidnap anyone lately, Hila Klein? Jep says, valid military target. Alana's Broken says, Hitler Klein. And CCPE says, boy many children you killed. Yeet also tweets out these screenshots on his page saying the H3 subreddit is calling out the type of comments you can usually find under Hila Klein IG posts. The valid military target talking point can also be found all over Twitter and other social media platforms. And PFP replies, same shit under Hasan's posts. Cry about it, lol. People need jobs. Wayne God replies to the screenshot saying, the hate these people spew on the daily is wild. How can they consider themselves the morally superior people while fostering this level of extremism? InChan also posts these screenshots on the H3 Protection subreddit with the title Hasan fans on Hila's IG, and Xenon Light replies, this is part of what Hasan wanted. People to harass and threaten Hila on his behalf. Literal mafia behavior. And Condition West replies, bitch made coward behavior. Literal enemy of the state. How far does someone have to go to actually see repercussions from the police? Like, does someone actually have to be killed before they act? And Status Safe replies, in America, many such cases, unfortunately. Adhesiveness Both replies, I know it's not the crew's problem when they have their own life, but it makes me sad no one is saying anything about this except Ethan. It makes me sad and angry, and I'm sorry. It's just not okay. I watched H3 as a kid, and I know I'm being parasocial saying this, it's just I don't want anything bad to happen to them. And OP replies, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. I get the sentiment, but I honestly understand why the crew wants to avoid all of this harassment. Let's keep our criticisms focused on these lunatics, not the crew. And Adhesiveness says, but Hila's life is endangered. What if something happens? Ethan also reacts to the Philly video that we saw earlier, and he tweets a clip of it out with the caption, Ethan Klein accuses Philip DeFranco of being a Hasan D writer after his coverage of Hasan's comments about Hila.
So this is what I'm saying. This is an intentional snub. He's watching and he knows. I think he's doing this to intentionally be provocative and just plain rude to me.
Wait.
We know.
I don't even know what.
We know.
I don't know what part of it you're talking about.
We
the thumbnail?
know Philip DeFranco is a Hasan dick writer.
I don't know about that. In
He's
fact,
always
I
reporting
didn't
on
see
him.
his reaction,
He's
but
always
I
giving
heard
him
Hasan
favorable-
was very upset by this video.
I was too. But that's just because Hasan's
it sounds
a
like
fucking
he's doing
crybaby.
his job.
Because Hasan's a crybaby bitch boy, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like he has to be the victim.
Okay.
And he successfully made himself the victim, and Philip DeFranco was an accomplice in that.
Look it up.
So is that the slight that you're talking about, or were you talking about the thumbnail?
Well, the thumbnail didn't help.
Okay. So we don't care that much about the thumbnail.
He took the only Jewish person out of the thumbnail. Just
ADL, where you at?
I'm just saying, dog.
ADL.
It's some
Listen,
anti-Semitic, dude.
he's doing the A/B test. The test is still ongoing. It sounds like.
Don't bring AB into this. He didn't have anything to do with it.
You know what?
Feels innocent. He passed the test.
You know what I'm saying.
AB didn't decide to take the only Jewish creator out of the.
Well, someone said that Hasan was upset with him too.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah,
damn.
Hasan was upset.
That's
But
what I'm
again,
saying.
I'm going to show
He's
you
not
guys.
pleasing anybody.
Poor Phil.
Because he's a fucking.
Yeah, and that makes me feel really bad.
Which is why you gotta grow a spine.
No,
You're never
Get
gonna
off the
please
bed!
everybody.
Stop throwing it to everybody.
And the Power of Reason replies, I mean, he's not wrong. Phil has been using Hasan for views just like everyone else who is his content creator / streamer friend. But the difference is that Phil isn't super entrenched in the online political space, so I don't think he's aware of how insane and disgusting Hasan truly is. Yeet also tweets out this clip with the caption, Hasan claims he doesn't think about Ethan Klein at all.
It was one of the most requested
W move by doing all this press public appearance because Ethan's a fucking idiot who lies about you being this public means all he says is lies. Otherwise, they'd never talk to you. I mean, I don't do the W press because of Ethan. I don't think about Ethan Klein at all. He's not a person that occupies any kind of time in my mind, if we're being real.
And Jerry Michaels replies, he doesn't think about him so much that he randomly threw his wife into a convo about valid military targets. Elliot Zadarik says, sounds more and more like the cheese has slid off the cracker for this dude. You'd also tweets out this clip with the caption, Hasan calls out Ethan's double standards in not condemning Destiny and Dan Saltman.
Yeah, this is also true. Why is the onus now not on E to condemn the actual death threats made against you by his sponsors, podcast co-hosts? Because like that right there, Redact Dev, is sponsoring Ethan Klein's podcast. Okay? It's one of the last remaining sponsors they have. It's owned by Dan Saltman, who is a psychopathic stalker of mine, as many of you probably know. And he also happens to be Sex Pestini's co-host on their podcast together. And what's really interesting about this is that while I have, without any affiliation to the people that, and we don't even know the details of the CPS shit or the skulls or whatever, immediately, as soon as I heard about it, I was like, that's fucked up. That's completely unacceptable, right? So why has Ethan Klein not come out and said Destiny's direct death threat that he issued against Hasan Abi Piker, my former podcast co-host, is also completely unacceptable? He still is advertising with them. He's still getting money directly from them. It's so crazy. The double standard is insane. It blows my fucking mind. Sometimes I feel like it's just, it's in, he hasn't condemned it. What is this? Hasan doesn't like death threats. Yeah, but again, when he posts this, doesn't he realize that if there's any remaining liberal or progressive people in his fan base, they're going to see this and go, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. Why is Ethan Klein not condemning this?
And Edward replies, it's not clocking with Hasan that he actually deserves all the hate that comes to him. Seraphin says, didn't H3 & Co. cover Destiny stuff and denounce it? He also tweets out this clip with the caption, Hasan implies he could sue Ethan for what he said about him.
This standard was evenly applied. Don't you think that spending the last year calling me a fucking dangerous Hamas mouthpiece, a Hamas terrorist, actively demanding that people take action against me, would put you directly in harm's way for legal repercussions? You spent the past 22 months of genocide actively making a villain out of anyone and everyone, firing off hundreds of Instagram stories, so much so that you couldn't even fucking imagine yourself. You couldn't believe the amount of Instagram stories you'd posted before this fucking debate. You thought it was a lie when I brought up the receipts. You couldn't believe it. And then you turned around and fired off 10 plus stories every fucking day. To this day. It's ridiculous. What do you think? Spreading misinformation about me, constantly fucking clipping me out of context, regularly demanding that like people take action against me at a time when the government is taking action against me. What do you think you're doing? You know exactly what the fuck you're doing. Okay? The notion that like I was invoking your wife that you also openly recognize participated in an illegal raid in the West Bank as a part of the occupying forces that did a war crime for any reason other than the fact that she did do that is ridiculous. Okay?
Then Stephanie Gale makes a thread about the whole situation, saying, hey Team YouTube, Ethan Klein and Destiny are endangering/threatening another one of your creators, Hasan Piker, Hasan Abi, via targeted harassment campaign. When will you stop supporting this? Take action before something happens. And then there's the comments from Destiny that we read in the first part of this series, saying, I honestly think you could perfectly justify attacking/killing Hasan IRL for statements like this. And then Ethan's video. And Stephanie continues, Hasan never put Ethan and his family in danger, but Ethan actually is endangering Hasan by nonstop making up wild shit about him. I don't don't give a fuck if you like Hasan. Did we learn nothing from Christina Grimmie, who wasn't even contentious? Then she attaches a Philly D's video saying thank you for covering this, Philly D. Hopefully YouTube will be spurred to take action. Then she attaches this thumbnail and title from the H3 podcast saying Hasan Piker put my family in danger. I need your help to stop. And Stephanie says this thumbnail / title is clearly intended to rally his massive audience against Hasan based on a blatant lie. Ethan has been nonstop posting about Hasan in an incredibly creepy / defamatory way on his Instagram stories for a year. He actively encourages his audience to harass Hasan as well as others regularly. He uses his YouTube platform to mass harass others and make money off of it. Then she attaches pictures of Ethan's stories, this first one with a picture of Hasan in the bathtub where Ethan's saying, "Fine, I accept my role as #1 player hater. This 40-year-old man made his girlfriend take a thirst trap of him on Valentine's Day while keeping her a secret so he can fulfill the fantasies of his pathetic vapid obsessors, while wearing non-prescription glasses in the tub." Then there's this other story with Zoran Mamdani meeting with Hasan and captioning it, "Congrats to Zoran. He seems like a good dude. That being said, he should really be careful who he associates with. I don't think people trying to dispel harmful stereotypes would appreciate this joke, especially Muslims living in NYC who lived through a time of horrific Islamophobia. Also, Hasan does unironically support jihadist groups, so the level to which he is kidding is unclear. Not to mention he is the America Deserved 9/11 guy. All that being said, I wish Zoran the best." And attached is a tweet from Hasan on June 25th, 2025, where Hasan said, "It's white boy jihad summer." Then there's this post we looked at earlier where he's saying to write sponsors, and then there's this post with Hasan controlling a puppet, with the puppet being labeled Twitch. Stephanie continues her thread, "Ethan Klein has been slandering a Yemeni non-stop because Hasan interviewed him, because Rashid toured a public attraction." Attaching this post from H3 where H3 is responding to Rashid saying, "I will not give up my case against Ethan Klein when he described me as a terrorist who caused me problems, and I closed all my accounts and I couldn't travel to other countries because of this." And Ethan responds, "You are a terrorist." And another post from Ethan where he's screenshotting Rashid in the hospital, and Rashid says, "I was trying to travel to another Arab country to get important treatments and then I couldn't. Why? Because there is a person named Ethan Klein who said I am a terrorist, although I am a citizen who took pictures and clips and supported the Palestinian cause." And Ethan captions it, "Bro, let me guess, chronic Lyme disease?" In another post at the bottom here from Feeling Sorry, who says, "Ethan Klein is a multimillionaire who has basically ruined the life of a 20-year-old kid from the poorest country on earth, all because he is a racist narcissist who hates brown people more than anything else on earth." And Ethan captions it, "Guys, he's literally a terrorist. I don't know why you even deny it. It'd be cooler if you just owned it. Wouldn't it feel so good to say it aloud? I love terrorists. Try it. It's true you do love terrorism. Just embrace it and say fuck it." Then this post from Rashid is screenshotting the Ethan Klein content nuke where his face is on screen and he says, "Why did Ethan Klein say that I am a terrorist even though I am not? I am a Yemeni citizen. By the way, weapons in Yemen are just like phones. Anyone can own them. I want to file a lawsuit against Ethan Klein." And finally in Steph's thread, she says, "Sorry for the tag, Hasan, but I just went through the comment section of this YouTube and you should be aware of this." And there is a Taylor Sullivan saying, "Nah, I think in this case he needs to be taken out." And Diho saying, "Hasan cannot threaten our queen and expect to get away with it. Whatever happens to him now will be well deserved. May he sleep with one eye open. He has gravely mistaken our fan base for not being dangerously insane when it comes to protecting our own. It's coming for him." In another post where nominee Jay says, "What about Hasan? He doesn't have anywhere near the protection he will need. I've watched him up close plenty for when I need to." And more comments from Joshua saying the war has begun. Philip Adler saying, "Please, someone has to off Hasan." And Akbar says, "People should have never associated with these far-left psychos like Hasan. They're as twisted as any MAGA cultist, just in a different ideological direction. Also similar ones as well. Disgusting." And then Hasan himself quote tweeted this post by Steph and responded to it in a now deleted tweet where Hasan said, "If I get murked by an adult wearing a color block pastel hoodie made for children, I am haunting everyone involved for generations." And Ethan responds to this by saying, "Deny, deflect, attack. Now it's my community? Unreal, man." Now there's still more to the story, including more responses from Hila herself. And even as just recently as yesterday, Ethan posting on his story about Hila's service in the IDF and also bringing up Hasan's brother and his brother's tie to Boeing and Boeing's tie to Israel, etc., etc. We'll get into all of that in the next episode, so subscribe with notifications on if you don't want to miss it. But for now, shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives, Kiko, Salsal, Coldest Bandito, and Captain Crash Out. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video.